Young man, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Beautiful smile. Go Cougs and all. You got it all decked out. What has it been like to be? What was it like when Willie Fritz called you and said, hey, we want to talk to you about being our cornerbacks coach?
Really just extremely gratifying. I've respected Coach Fritz for a really long time. My brothers played for him at Sam Houston State. I've known about him and his ability to build organic relationships with people and the success that he's had. And so I'm just grateful. I was super excited that I got a chance to get a peek behind the curtain on what success really looks like and how it's built.
Coach, I remember you as a recruit. I was an Oklahoma fan, so I remember reading about Marcus Trice a lot back in the day. And then I've seen you like with the Texas high school football stops and now to where you are at this point. Just a very cool story, just kind of seeing you from afar. But how did the coaching part get into your blood and get to where that was what ended up being your current career and what you've been doing and what you plan to keep doing moving forward?
If I'm being honest, like I never really wanted to coach. Like right when I got done playing ball, my playing days were done. I sold insurance for a while, and I was really good at it, and it was cool. And like I was getting like awards for like most sales and all of this, but like it wasn't fulfilling. I think the people who've had the biggest impact on my life in some way, shape, form, or fashion, they were centered around sports, and so I think that's just what I wanted to do. I wanted to make an impact on young men and young women and students. And I feel like coaching gave me the platform to be able to impact young men in a positive way. And so that's kind of what was my calling. I feel like I was called to the game, and I've been fortunate that like I've had the opportunity to build really good relationships. And in my mind, I like to think that I've steered young men in the right direction in regards to just setting up a solid foundation for what manhood looks like.
How much did I know Coach Ross at Lovejoy, who's now at Tarleton, who was at SFA, and you were at SFA. By the way, that's my alma mater, so Axum Jacks. And Colby Carthel. Colby Carthel's done a great job with the Lumberjacks. How much of an influence did he have on your career prior to moving to Houston?
So one, Chris Ross is probably the best human being in the coaching profession. Genuinely cares about people, knows how to challenge coaches and develop coaches. He's been a head coach since like the 90s. And a lot of coaches that have went under him went on to be really good, head coaches at the high school level. And I can say the same thing about Coach Colby Carthel. The relationship him and I built, it is special in the regard of, I went out on faith. Like I took a major pay cut to leave Lovejoy High School and go to Stephen F. Austin and, to move, 2.5 hours away to the piney woods of East Texas. But it all came back to the relationships that Kobe had built years prior with Jason Johns, with, Jason Lavender, with even Chris Ross. Like I trusted those guys and they trusted him. And I felt like I was going to be in a good place. And you think about it, like every DB coach who had came through Stephen F. Austin at the time, they promoted and went to greener pastures per se. Whether it was Marcus Walker, who was there, it was Freddie Banks before him, Mitch White, who went to Utah State right after, and then me. And prior to that, like he had Kenny Guyton and a bunch of other, Malcolm Kelly was there for a little bit, Jamarcus McFarland. He had a bunch of young coaches who, he was able to pour into that went on and did, went to promoted to higher levels of coaching, and that are still having a lot of success now. So, Kobe Carthel, Chris Ross, I owe a lot to those men, not only for the impact that they made on my career, but the impact that they've made on me as a man.
You just named like an early 2000s all-star team, man. Jamarcus McFarland and Malcolm Kelly and Marcus, like, man, that's just the nostalgia is hitting me, man. Like I told you, I remember watching your recruitment. And so, yeah, just all those names ringing a clear bell there. So when you talk to Willie Fritz, tell us, like, take us, how does that conversation go? Do you start talking ball? Like, how do you figure out that you're a good fit for one another and it ends up to where, hey, you're the guy, I want you to lead my cornerbacks here?
I think the biggest thing is this, like Coach Fritz has been a head coach since Moby Dick was a minnow, right? And so the relationships that he have throughout this profession, they're endless. And so there's no one who I could put on a resume sheet that says, hey, call this guy that he didn't know or was connected to by 1 or 2 degrees of separation. And so he did his homework. And number one thing he wanted to look for was a man of great character. There aren't many places I can go. I believe this, like, your name should be good in every room that you're in, and your name should be good in every room that you're not in. And so I'm fortunate that all the people that he called were willing to stand on the table and vouch for me. And then, like, in regards to like the interview process, like, he really wants to know, at the end of the day, what he wants to know is like, what do you do on a day-to-day basis to perform at a high level, to get your players to perform at a high level? Do you work hard? Do you come early? Do you stay late? Are you organized? Are you detailed? Can you follow the plan to win? Right. And I think that's the issue. Like, a lot of coaches come in and they have all these grand ideas. Well, you have a head coach who's had success everywhere he's been over the course of the last, I don't know, 2 decades. And can you follow the plan to win? Now, it's good to have new ideas, and those are accepted here, but also, like, it's time tested and infallible, right? And so he's found a way to have success. And so as long as you come in, you work hard, I think everything else works itself out.
Coach Carthel told me that every time you went to any kind of like a convention or anywhere, that he was your wingman, right? Or you were his. Is that right? That's how close you were.
Yeah. That's right. Like I said, me and Coach Carthel, like, I'm a very different personality in regards to, like, I'm kind of always smiling, always bouncing around, I'm probably way too loud at times, and I probably talk too much at times, but Kobe Carthell's the same way. And so he embraced it. Anytime we would go anywhere, he knows everybody everywhere. And I'm fortunate enough that I've built enough relationships where I know a lot of people in different places. And so, yeah, we would kind of piggyback off each other, and he introduced me to a lot of really good people in his profession. And I'm fortunate that his name has resonated so well because, you know, I'm under that tree.
So you get the job at Houston. I can tell just by what we've talked about so far, like, the first thing when you walk into that cornerbacks room is like starting a relationship building, right? Like, that's the top thing. So kind of take us there and how that process begins for you. But also when you get to the football, like, how do you dive into a new room, getting to know new guys, but also, like, this is how we're going to do things? Kind of what's your process with all that?
Yeah, I think, you know, the thing that always resonates in my head, and, you know, I had a safety at Carthel named Zach Stricker, and he got up and talked in front of the team. And he said, trust is earned in droplets and lost in buckets. And so for me, like, I understand that trust has to be earned, but also, like, the players have to earn my trust. And so if we want to build organic relationships, like, the players that, like, it's a lot of brilliant men that coach football, right? But, like, can you get the players to respond to you? Like, can you get them to understand that you have their best interest in mind, the team's best interest in mind? And so the relationship building process just starts off organically. Like, it's really me tearing down my walls and like operating with a certain level of transparency that allows them to know kind of who I am, where I come from, what I believe in, and why I believe in it. And once I'm able to establish that, like, they're able to kind of get a real gauge on my identity, I think it, as a byproduct of my transparency, it allows them to be transparent and let down their walls. I went to a lot of places. I've been a lot of places, and you know, kids usually start off kind of resistant to change, but change is just an opportunity to grow. And so the relationship process is an everyday thing. It's an all the time thing. In regards to me coming in and figuring out what they're good at, what they're not, I think that's a process within itself, right? And I believe in tiering the system. And so initially, you know, we have conversations on kind of like, what do you believe in? Like, what techniques are you comfortable in? All right. And then I'm able to explain to them, okay, this is what I believe in. This is why I believe in it. This is where we're going to work. And once we've mastered how I want to do it relative to the system that I'm in, right? With this system, there's very specific techniques that can be utilized, right? And so I think, well, I know that I'm always going to start off, let's do it the way that I see it. And then once you've mastered that, or you've gotten close to mastering that, then I'm able to put the players in a position where, okay, now you understand when to use this technique and how. Now let's go back and work on perfecting the little nuances of the things that you really are comfortable in. All right. And it's okay to get uncomfortable. I think, you know, being uncomfortable allows them to grow. Right. Really, ultimately, what I am is my job to put them in a position to be successful and add more tools to their tool bag. And so when you come in as a new coach, like you can't dismiss what they believe in. You can't dismiss what they're comfortable with, because ultimately you want them to be productive, and they can't be productive if they're not confident. And so, when it comes to my philosophy on how we should play certain things, ultimately, like, does it align with what the defensive coordinator wants? Does it align with what the head coach wants? And if it does, then let's work it. If it doesn't, then let me figure out a different way to skin that cat. And so I think being adaptable and being approachable, I think is huge, especially when taking over a new room, and but also being demanding. Like, we have one standard in the room, it's elite effort. And elite means to be the best version of yourself. It is an intrinsic matter that is not affected by external circumstance. And effort is a vigorous, determined attempt. And so no matter what we do or how we do it, like, we're going to give our all. And growth is going to be the end goal and process.
How many times when you were out recruiting during the spring were you looking for talent for who it was, SFA, now Houston, and yet you were also watching what they were doing in the coach's type brain that you were learning while watching possible prospects?
It's when I'm recruiting or watching prospects, ultimately I'm trying to figure out, like, if I'm there recruiting them, then they have the skill set, right? Like, they have some elite trait that I believe in, whether it be length or twitch or change of direction. What I want to figure out when I'm on the road recruiting is, like, are they an adept learner? Like, do they learn quickly? How do they learn? Or is it kinesthetic? Is it reading, writing? Is it audio? Is it visual? Or even teaching. Like, I want to see them teach. I want to see them lead when I'm going to practice, when I'm sitting in a meeting, maybe. I'm trying to figure out, like, who they are as an individual, like, who they are as an individual. Okay. Who are their parents? And then you get a good tell for, like, does he come from a home where he's been held accountable? Right. It don't matter if I'm recruiting for Stephen F. Austin or the University of Houston. The philosophy is the same. Like, bring in people that I would love to coach, bring in people that the head coach would love to be a part of their program, bring in people that fit the defensive coordinator's philosophy. And if all those things are vertically aligned, then that's a player that I want. If it's not, whether I want them or not, like, if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. So, anytime I'm out recruiting, whether it be for Stephen F. Austin or now at the University of Houston, we go bring in men of great character first, and then young men who can be developed into special players.
How old is your son, Malcolm?
You've done your research, man. Malcolm is 16 months, just turned 16 months.
He's into year number 2. What a handful.
Yeah, he is. He'll be at the spring game, and he'll probably be dancing if they play some music. So I'm excited to let him be a part of this element, be a part of this world. The older he gets, the more we'll have him more interactive. And he's a special kid, though. Very unique personality, very happy. He's being raised the right way. I'm excited about it.
Big smile, fun personality, really good dude, from more than one person that told us that you would be a great segment. Thanks to Fletcher Light for setting it up. Mesquite High School Skeeter, right? Yeah, the Skeeters. Yeah, they used to be a part of the district that was in East Texas with Longview and John Tyler and Robert E. Lee and Lufkin and all that stuff. That's back in the day. Boy, Marco Martin was a great name back in the days at Mesquite High School, and they won a state championship. Well, yeah. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate your time. Have a great week. Thank you.